that our decisions work only in very superficial things, that anything profound is really a byproduct of deep understanding and wisdom. And that wisdom, coming upon that wisdom, is spirituality. So having defined spirituality, I think the Buddha pointed out long ago 3 laws. Just like you have 3 laws of Newton, you have 3 laws which the Buddha gave. And we must deeply understand what they mean. And I think that they are relevant for management, as I will show just now. First of all, he said, sorrow exists. Just as Newton said, motion exists, but if that changes, there is a cause for it. It's just an observed fact. Buddha said sorrow exists. Human consciousness, I see that there is a lot of sorrow in the form of psychological suffering, in the form of conflict, etc. Second, that it has a cause. Ignorance is the cause of sorrow. That's the second law. Ignorance, not as lack of knowledge, but as illusion. Illusion, what in Hindi we call Brahm, is that you take something to be true when it is not true, but you are assuming it to be true. That's an illusion. Or you are giving tremendous importance to something in life which is really not so important. That's also an illusion. And illusion is ignorance, and he is saying from illusion arises all sorrow, all conflict, all negative emotions. They are the source of all disorder in our consciousness and therefore out there in our relationships and in society. The third is the cause can be eliminated. Why? Because illusion can be eliminated. You can't change an organic fact which is not the creation of your own thought. You can't change a biological fact. But psychological assumptions which are false assumptions can change when you discover for yourself that they are false. And therefore, true spirituality is born of the perception of what is true and what is false. When you perceive what is true and what is false, the false ends. Let me give an example. We have a big division between Hindus and Muslims in our country, and that's the cause of so much violence, and I don't need to describe it. We read about it every day in the newspapers. What is the root cause of that violence? The fact that the Hindu feels he is very different from the Christian, and he feels that because his ideas about religion, about God are different from those of the Muslim, he prays in a different way. Actual fact is what? The fact is that the Hindu doesn't know what God is. The Muslim also doesn't know what God is. The Hindu is repeating what his ancestors have told him and written in various books, and he is identifying with it and saying this is the truth and this is important, and the Muslim is doing exactly the same. But if they only had the understanding and the humility to say, well, this is what our ancestors told me, but I myself don't know if this is true, then, and the Muslims said the same, they would be friends, there would be no hatred between them. They would say, well, my ancestors told me something different from yours, but I also don't know if this is true. And so if they were both people in quest of truth, they would have inquiring minds, and though their opinions may differ, they are both wanting to go beyond that opinion and to discover the truth for themselves. So this division is born of illusion, because you are accepting something which you don't know to be true. And of course, illusions can be different for different people, because they are just imaginary things. And imagination can be very different. But the fact cannot be different. Therefore, truth is not different for different human beings. The truth comes into being when a consciousness perceives what is, namely the fact, without any distortion. And you have a distortion process going on when you are egotistic. The ego itself being this identification with my body, my family, my religion, my country. This identification, and creates the division, this is mine, that's not mine. Those people and our people. As soon as you have produced division, there is disaffection. There is groupism around one particular view. I share with all the Hindus, and the Muslim shares with all the Muslims, and so on. And out of that groupism comes all the disenchantment, the antagonism, and so on. So that you remain brotherly with only that small set of people you call as my people. You work for their welfare, and you are not really interested. You don't really love the rest of humanity. So the ego process narrows us down. It creates boundaries within which I say, I love. And take national boundary. I mean, earlier Pakistan was part of India, so those people were also our people. They were also Indians, and we were supposed to feel for all of them. And now that the British have drawn a boundary, and those people are no longer my people, then I hate them. So it's all doing of the mind. That's not a fact in nature. So it's all born of illusion. And when you are attached to your particular illusion and you are doing propaganda for your illusion, it's not religion. Religion is the quest for truth, for wisdom, not for attachment to a particular belief, a particular point of view. Otherwise, it becomes important because you identify with it, you possess it, you consider it yours, and therefore you are giving importance to it. Then that becomes an egotistic relationship with your nation, with your culture, with your country. So from this ego process in us comes all the disorder in human consciousness. And you could say, well, what has all this to do with management? Well, that same ego is a source of problems in the management. You set up a factory and you have various managers for different aspects. They feel rivalry for each other. They want the same job, they want the same promotions, they feel jealous of each other. All that is the byproduct of the ego process in us. And that means that they are fighting with each other, they are not able to cooperate with each other and work. So a lot of wastage of time and energy and resources goes into this internal friction, if I may say so, and that decreases your output. So not only this ego process is creating disorder in our own consciousness, it is also creating disorder in society, because society is nothing but the relationship between human beings. And it is also creating the problems within the family and also in your management or in the setting up of a factory, because it is the same central factor which comes in the way of working as a cooperative group. One works as a cooperative group quite well when there is common self-interest. If all of us, the gangsters also work in good cooperation with each other, so long as they all want to rob a particular bank and share the profits. They are good friends with each other. But if one of them wants to leave the gang, they'll kill him, shoot him. So that's not based on love or friendship. That's based on common self-interest. And so when you are motivated only by common self-interest, that is not virtue. That's not real cooperation. Your critic may really be your true friend, because he may be pointing out something that may be true, and I may be going on with my own song, my own illusion in my mind, and therefore my critic may be my best friend, if you are really interested in the truth. But if you are only interested in victory, then you are looking only for support, and that is what the ego turns us into. So the ego turns our mind into a sort of lawyer who is defending all the time the me and the mind, working for the profit and the security of the me and the mind. And a lawyer is not interested in the truth. The lawyer is interested in only defending his client and winning the case. And when your mind becomes like that, it becomes incapable of perceiving what is true and what is false. Because you will defend the false because you love the false. It's your particular illusion, and therefore it blocks all true inquiry. Therefore it blocks all true spirituality as well. In my slide, I want to show you the consequences of what this ego process does